Hi, Year 5s! For today's Maths Extra, I'm going to talk about rounding numbers. So, remind me, what digit do I look at when rounding to the nearest 10? So I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. So which digit do I look at to round to the nearest 10? Remember, 10 is the T in the chart. If you said ones, good job. So the number was 827. I want to round that to the nearest 10, so I had to look at the ones. What digit do I look at when rounding to the nearest 100? So if I have to look at the ones to round to the nearest tens, what digit do I have to look at when rounded to the nearest 100? You said tens. Good job. So I have to look at the tens when I'm rounding to the nearest 100. Remember, we're not really looking for answers right now, just making sure you remember. I have to look at the tens to round to the nearest hundreds. Good to know. So if I look at the ones to round to the nearest 10, and the tens to round to the nearest 100, which digit do I need to look at when rounding to the nearest 1,000? And our numbers change, so now it's 2,847. But which digit do I need to look at when rounding to the nearest 1,000? You should know this by now. Yes, if you got hundreds, good job. So I have to look at the hundreds column when rounding to the nearest 1,000. Let's do some true or false now, because we know what we have to look at in order to round things. But now let's make sure we know how to round things. So true or false, and you tell me. When rounding to the nearest 10, you look at the ones digit. That seems pretty good so far. If it is 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, you round down. And if it's 6, 7, 8, or 9, you round up. I think some of this is true, but not all of it. So I think it's false. Because when you're rounding down, you don't have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 that lets you round down. Which digit makes you start to round up, do you think? Do you remember? If you've said 5, thank you and good job. So this is false, because when rounding to the nearest 10, you look at the ones digit. And if it is 1, 2, 3, 4, you round down. And then if it's 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, then you round up. So I just fixed it for you. You're welcome. Here's another one, true or false. When rounding to the nearest 100, you look at the ones digit. If it is 1, 2, 3, or 4, you round down. If it is 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, you round up. Well, the second part looks true for this one, but I'm not too sure about the beginning because it said when rounding to the nearest 100, you look at the ones digit. That's not what we learned a couple slides ago. Which column do I have to look at if I'm rounding to the nearest 100? You said 10, thank you, and good job. So when rounding to the nearest 100, you look at the tens digit. And then if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, you round down. And if it's 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, you round up. So that one's false too, but in a different way. Who would have thunk? So if we look at this slide, it has a number line right across the top that increases in increments of 1,000 each time. So it goes from 0 to 10,000. And if we look at our little question on the left there, it says, what two multiples of 1,000 surround these numbers? So they're saying it could either round down to a multiple of 1,000, or it could round up to a multiple of 1,000. We have to figure that out. So the first one is already done for you, and that number was 3,481. So if you look on that center area there, it has kind of some number lines there for you with those numbers. So that number, the 3,481, can round down to 3,000 or up to 4,000. Now, since we're finding this rounded number to the nearest 1,000, we have to look at the hundreds column. Thank you if you said something. So we have to look at the hundreds column. So if I'm looking at the hundreds column, that's a 4. Does the 4 mean I need to round down to 3,000? Or does the 4 mean I need to round up to 4,000? Yes, it means I need to round down to 3,000 because 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds down, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rounds up. So good job if you're following along so far. Let's do the next numbers on your own, and I know you can do it. I'm going to read them. I'll give you a second so you can pause the video, figure it out on your own, and you can press play and see if you got it right. So we had 8,362. It can either round down to a multiple of 1,000. I don't know which one that is. Or it could round up to a multiple of 1,000. Again, I don't know what that is. Then our next number is 1,495. So it can round down to something or it can round up to something. Then our last number was 6,287. It can round down to something, it can round up to something. So when I come back after you pause the video and figure it out for yourself, we're going to go through which multiples of 1,000 it could round to, and then obviously which one it did round to. So you pause it now, figure that out. I'm going to take a little drink of my water. Okay, so our second number, 8,362. What multiples of 1,000 surround those numbers? Yep, 8,000 or 9,000. And if we look at that number, we have to look at the hundreds digit to see how it can round to the nearest 1,000. So a 3 makes us round down. Good. So 8,362 actually rounds down to 8,000. Awesome. I know some of you are saying words out loud and following along, and that's amazing. Thank you. It makes me really happy that you're participating. Our third number is 1,495. So let's look at our hundreds digit. It's a 4. So that means going to round down or up. Means we have to round down. So there's multiples of 1,000 that surround it. The lower end is going to be 1,000. Good. The higher end is going to be 2,000. Good job. And we know we have to round it down. So if we round that number to the nearest 1,000, it's going to get rounded down to 1,000. Good job. And let's look at our last number. So what two multiples of 1,000 surround this number? Yes, 6,000 and 7,000. If we look at our hundreds digit, it's a 2, which means it has to round down. So 6,287 rounds down to 6,000. Good job. What are the possible multiples of 10,000 these numbers can be rounded to? It's a bit different from our last slide because that was to 1,000. Now we're looking at to 10,000. So what are the possible multiples of 10,000 that these numbers can be round it to. And I've highlighted something in red for you on this page. And I think you know why, but we'll talk about it a bit later. So let's look at these numbers. We have 42,005, 79,369, 85,381, 53,590, and 68,309. These are pretty big numbers, but we can go bigger. We can go better. You know how to do this. Let's go. So, what are the possible multiples of 10,000 these numbers can be rounded to? I'm sure you figured this out by yourself. So we'll go through it quickly. We have 42,005. That can round down to 40,000, or it can round up to 50,000. And those are the rest of the numbers for you there. So you can pause for a few seconds, take it in, make sure you're on the right track. Of course you are, because you are very smart peanuts. Let's look at our red digits now. Why do you think those are highlighted? Yeah, it's the thousands column, thousands digit. So we need to look at our thousands digit to round to the nearest 10,000, which is what we're doing in these questions, of course. So that's why they're highlighted. So we already know the possible multiples of 10,000 that these numbers can be rounded to, because they're right there for you. And we know that red digit is going to help us round it to one of the blue options. So let's solve them. So good for you if you got these. So the 2 in 42,005 is going to round down, good, to 40,000. The 9 in 79,369 is going to round up to 80,000. Good job. The 5, and when I was your age, I always got really turned around by the 5 because I thought it was in the middle, but now you have to round it up. So obviously, 85,381 always gets rounded up to 90,000. Good job. 53,590 gets rounded down to 50,000. Yeah. 68,309 gets rounded up to 70,000. Pats for all of you. You're doing really good. And I'm just so good. I just made another slide for you to look at there. Those are the right answers. Look at me go. Still giving you pats. You're doing really good. Okay, let's look at this number. It's a big one. You say it out loud, and I'll say it in a few seconds. 781,542. Good job. I want to round this number to the nearest multiple of 10. So I'm rounding to 10s. What place value column do I look at? I look at the ones. How many zeros will I have? I'll have 1 0 in my answer. Interesting. Write your answer down what you think if I rounded that number to the nearest 10. There's a motorcycle. Not sure if you heard it. Doesn't mean you should break your concentration though. Let's go. Next one. 781,542. I want to round this number to the nearest multiple of 100. What place value column do I look at? I look at the tens. Good. How many zeros will I have? I'm going to have about 2 zeros in my answer. So write it down. Pause if you need to. Write it down. Let's go. I want to round this number to the nearest multiple of 1,000 now. So I'm looking at thousands. What place value column do I look at? I have to look at the hundreds. Good job. How many zeros will I have? It looks like I'm going to have 3 zeros in this one. Write your answer down. Pause if you need to. We're going to keep going. We're going to take it all the way. You can do it. Doing amazing. I love it. This number I want to round to the nearest multiple of 10,000. What place value column do I look at? Nearest 10,000. I need to look at the 1,000 place value column. Good job. How many zeros will I have? Well, it looks like I'm going to have about 4 zeros in my answer. So write your answer down, pause if you need to. We're getting there. Doing good. Yay, you did it. So check your answers from what's on the screen in front of you. See if you got it right. I highlighted the zeros in purple just because I know a few students came to me and said, Misty, I don't know what you mean when you're saying how many zeros are in a number. And that's just a way that I figured a few of you might be able to kind of make sure you don't get mixed up with your zeros, because I know sometimes when I'm marking, you might put some extra zeros or you might forget some zeros. So I've kind of highlighted it for you there. And you can see it's kind of like a pattern, because the higher you round, the more zeros you have, which I always thought was pretty fun. It's a fun math thing. So let's look at our answers. 781,542 rounded to the nearest 10 is, you say it, good. Rounded to the nearest 100 is, good. Rounded to the nearest 1,000 is, good. And rounded to the nearest 10,000 is, awesome. Good job. Look at all those good numbers, and I'm sure you did the best you can do. So hats for you if you got these right, because rounding is a bit tricky sometimes, but I know you can do it. So good job, everyone. Bonus, and it might be a little bit cut off, so I'm sorry. What about the nearest 100,000? Take a second. Think what number you'd have to look at. What digit you'd have to look at to round to the nearest 100,000. 800,000. Good job. That's for you. Might be cut off again. That says, what about 1 million? And that's the bonus question I'm going to leave you with, because this video is getting a little bit long, and I'm sure all you smart students of mine already know the answer. So if you're registered on Class Dojo, you can send me the answer to the bonus question, or you can email me, have your parents talk to me about it. When I call you next time, you can tell me about the answer that you have, and I really hope that this extra little lesson can help some of you with your maths if you need any help for that. So thank you for watching and listening and trying your hardest. That's for everyone. And I think you all deserve a round of applause. Good job, everyone. Thank you so much. I miss you all, and I really hope you're all staying safe and doing well. If you need anything, get in touch with me. Okay? Bye, your fives.